And it is Tuesday. You know how we do it right here on TV 47. Time for Pledge Watch, where we put your leaders to task in regards to the pledges they made to you, and most importantly, in regards to the roles that have been enshrined unto them as expected by the Constitution. And today, Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, Member of Parliament Ugunja, and equally the Chair of Parliamentary Accounts Committee, is on board. Guess what? Of course, we'll be putting him to task in regards to what, of course, he's done for the people of Ugunja who are on standby, all waiting or all watching. And of course, we can see that they've already started tweeting. That is a sign that indeed they're eagerly waiting to hear from the main man, but not forgetting the level at which he stands at a park is a level for every other common mwananchi right here in the country, because that's when we get to know how best our monies have been used. And in the event that they've not been used very well, then suddenly he will be there to put to task the people who are on certain stake or are stakeholders on certain dockets, and they get to explain that extensively so that at least we're able to get answers. If these answers are going to take these people to court, then so be it, for as long as the taxpayers' money is well catered for. So welcome on board. My name is Linda Alela. It's always a pleasure doing this with you. And as always, I say this is your show. It is time for you to speak to us, to speak to your Mheshimiwa, to tell us what, who you would want us to bring next time, and most importantly, to ask those candid questions, because it's always about you. Every other time that you're going out there on the ballot to make that vote, it is in regards to the best interest of you. We are all looking towards to get a better Kenya. And I'm doing this with my sign language interpreter, that is Josephine Ouko. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that are coming in already. Emmanuel says that countdown to Pledge Watch, it is here already. Thank you so much for waiting. Kelvin Faraji says, I was in Ugunja a few months ago working with Ignite Africa in mentoring youths, and most youths are unemployed. What are you doing to reduce the level of unemployment of youth? Of course, Mheshimiwa will be answering that, even as, of course, they've worked so hard towards ensuring that they have tightened the noose on the aspect of education. Not forgetting what Joash says, and Joash Onsare says, Leo siku ndani ya TV 47, usikose kutune in. And of course, Mheshimiwa, yes, everyone is all waiting. So before we cross over to you, I think it's important that we take a look at this particular role. The other week, we discussed about what a member of parliament is supposed to do, because, you know, on 2 consecutive Tuesdays, we've had members of parliament. But let's take a look at what is the role of the chair, or maybe the Parliamentary Accounts Committee. And then on that very note, we're going to put Mheshimiwa to task. Let's take a look. The Public Accounts Committee and prudent use of national resources to monitor the use of national funds, to analyze usage public funds, and ultimately oversee government expenditure. Yes, we remind you of that again, to promote a prudent use of national resources, to monitor the use of national funds, to analyze usage of public funds, and ultimately oversee government expenditure. Thank you so much for finding time to be here with us, Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, thank you.
We're supposed to go to, actually, because of the corona aspect. Nice meeting you. But all the same, thank you so much for finding time to be here. The people of Ugunja are waiting, and equally the people of Kenya, now that you sit as the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, which is pretty much of importance to us. Welcome on board. And as always, Pledge Watch is about getting you to task in regards to what you've done to the people of Ugunja. And I think we'll start with that particular tweet that has been sent by Faraji, who says he was working at some point in time in Ugunja. The rate of unemployment is extremely high, yet equally we expect that, of course, Ugunja is indeed an industrious constituency.
Well, before I get there, let me first take this opportunity to thank you.
Thank you.
For hosting me on your studio. Yeah, it's my first time to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It took me some time to looking for the place.
I mean, yeah? With all the pins that I dropped?
I struggled to locate the location. But finally I made it.
Yeah.
And it looks like a nice place.
Thank you.
Yes, very elegant.
Thank you.
And I look forward to engaging with you more and more.
Right.
Yeah, now and in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, and having said that, let me come back to your opening question, if I may call it so.
Right.
Yeah. I want just to assure you that Ugunja is very much part and parcel of Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if one goes to Ugunja and experiences a high level of unemployment rate, it is not something out of the ordinary.
Right.
It's basically a reflection of what is happening across the country. Indeed, I would say across the developing world.
Right.
Yeah, the only most important thing would be what are we doing to mitigate this situation? Yes, that would be the most important question. Not why are we having unemployment levels as high as they are, you know, Ugunja or elsewhere, but what are we doing to mitigate the situation? Yes, yeah, and I must tell you that in Ugunja constituency, we don't just do things anyhow. Yeah. We plan. I'm sure you know that I'm serving my second term as a member of parliament.
As a member of parliament, yes.
For Ugunja constituency. That in itself, of course, attests the fact that the people of Ugunja have confidence in me. For them to have been able to elect me first time and second time.
There's been this talk, now that you brought that, let me just ask this question so at least we get over and done with it. At some point in time there were talks that because of you know, sort of that endorsement by Baba, then probably the likelihoods, that's the reason why some of you and the likes of you know, Senator Orengo sort of got themselves back into power, because remember that particular you know, electioneering period, a majority of you were sort of course in Nairobi dealing with the cases, the numerous court cases in regards to the process of election in the country. So it sort of felt like, you know, it wasn't about what you have done, but typically the endorsement of Baba.
Without really losing focus on the issue you raised earlier on, let me just state that it is a matter of fact that I belong to the ODM party.
Yes.
I don't just belong to ODM, by the way. I am a ranking member of ODM party. Indeed, I am the Secretary for Political Affairs of ODM. Yeah, so I should be able to know what goes on in ODM.
Right.
But secondly, it's also a fact that ODM is led by Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. Yes, and therefore, as loyal and disciplined members of the movement, and ODM is not just any other movement. ODM is one of the most progressive political movements in this part of Africa. Yes. So as disciplined and loyal members of the progressive movement that ODM is, yes, we are duty bound to support our party leader. Now, having said that, of course, ultimately you must also realize that Raila Odinga is a very democratic politician, a very democratic leader. For the 2 times I've been elected as MP Ugunja, I have gone through the rigors of campaigning, firstly for nomination. Yes, which I have resoundingly won on those 2 occasions, before going to win the ultimate elections in the general elections. So it's a fallacy that it's because of some kind of favoritism that we get elected. And there's no crime, of course, in my party leader having a soft spot for me, or having confidence in me, or even endorsing me, which of course never does, because all those who run within ODM are his members. Are his members. So that aside, I was coming back to the issue of the situation in Ugunja. But as I do so, you must also be reminded of the core roles of a member of parliament. Yes. Particularly a member of the National Assembly.
Oversight, legislature.
Okay? Yeah. Under Article 95 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Right. So of course, you know, it's oversight, it's legislation, and it's representation. Right. So all these 3 roles are related. They are interconnected in one way or another. But then, as a leader who represents the people, the matter of unemployment must concern me. And therefore, I said from the beginning that what I've done as a member of parliament from the very beginning was to engage with my people when they elected me first in 2013. To engage with my people constructively and develop what we've called the strategic plan. We did one for 2013 to 2018. Right. We've done now one for 2018 to 2023. Yes. Yes, in the second time.
I had a look at it.
You haven't had time. Yes. I wish you did better, some more research.
I have looked at it actually online.
Because, sure. Yes. Good. Correct. Now you are well equipped.
Strategic planning.
You are well equipped. It's not every constituency that has got strategic plans. Yes. Guiding the development activities. So that strategic plan of 2013 to 18 and even of 2018-23 has got as one of their pillars the matter of youth empowerment. And it is well elaborated, very clearly in those documents now.
Probably this, the very same one that was there on the first phases, and then one would ask, what really altered these strategic plans from being implemented? Was it the aspect of the policies, or what exactly, to a point whereby we carry the same issues on the same phase?
Well, these issues never die. The issues of youth unemployment, unless you are saying that within one term we are able to deal with. You'll be lying.
You'll be lying. But a majority of you sort of complain on such grounds. That's never happened.
Even in the strongest economy in the world, America.
Why do we still have
unemployment?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, so it's an issue we can only address progressively in the manner we have addressed it, following our strategic plans. Okay, and the key thing for me is to empower the youth by equipping them with the necessary skills,
right,
so that ultimately they can become responsible citizens, not just as mere employees of companies like yours, or of government, but they can also be able to be self-employed, become self-employed citizens, and be able also to create employment for others.
They argue that it's hard to set up even a business in the country.
Well, we are told that where there's a will, there's a way.
There's a way.
Very many young Kenyans have managed to do it, and that's what the challenge I've given my people at home, and I'm happy they're embracing it. So we have invested in education, both at the basic level and the tertiary level.
Yes, I agree. And I think we're going to come to that later.
And that is one key way of addressing unemployment.
Right,
yes, to keeping them with the requisite skills for them to be able to fend for themselves.
Is the ground as open and sort of comfortable, the level of the grassroots, or it is still a hula bull, especially right now that we're talking about the aspect of devolution? Because then clearly devolution was to address the issues of the grassroots, get some of these people who are in the city going back home and making the best of the opportunities down there.
With no devolution or no devolution, these citizens who come from the counties, and every citizen comes from a county,
right?
Okay, they belong to both the county governments and the national government.
Yes.
So there's no demarcation, and therefore the county governments must play their roles, just as much as the national government is playing its role.
Yep.
So what I was trying to say in short is that we have continued to engage, to indulge in those programs and projects that ultimately equip us youth with the skills that would help them fend for themselves.
Okay, let's come back to PAC, and of course, which is key for every other common mwananchi, especially now that, of course, you've been heading it. And we all agree that the use of cash in different sectors has been questioned, a couple of times right here in the country. We still are grappling with the aspect of corruption. And, some of these leaders face the committee. Why is it then that we've not been able to ultimately address this aspect of corruption and misuse of funds going all the way to the level of the county?
Well, first, I need to educate Kenyans through you, again, on the role of the Public Accounts Committee, which I am privileged to chair in the 12th Parliament of the Republic of Kenya. Well, PAC is a creation of the standing orders. But more critically, PAC is one of those organs, those committees of Parliament, that bring to effect the requirements of the Constitution, which is, of course, to ensure that public funds are used in a prudent manner, in a prudent, legal, and effective manner, And how do we do this? And we must also understand our mandate and scope, How do we do this? As Public Accounts Committee, of course, we are governed by the rules of the House, first and foremost. But more importantly, we deal entirely with the reports generated by the Office of the Auditor General, and presented to Parliament, Under Article, I think, 299 of the Constitution. So it's on the basis of the reports of the Auditor General that are presented to Parliament that we do our examination and are able then to hold to account those officers who are charged with the responsibility of managing public funds.
And there are numerous accounts that this has worked in tandem. What, of course, the Public Accounts Committee has discovered, and equally what the Auditor General's Office has presented in terms of a report. And, for instance, the case of the IABC at some point in time. But so far, I mean,
I don't lose focus. Let me just clearly explain this. So we, and therefore, when we examine these reports as presented to us by the Office of the Auditor General, our mandate allows us to go beyond what is captured in those reports. And then go ahead and make recommendations in the form of reports again to the main house. It's upon the main house to either agree with us or not.
Disagree,
If they agree with us, the reports are adopted holistically. If they don't agree, they can amend them, or they can also reject them.
Right.
I'm happy to report that none of our reports has been rejected by the main house. Okay. Now, it's also important to note that in this role of oversight, my committee has done wonders. Indeed, it's on record from the Speaker of the National Assembly himself that the Public Accounts Committee of the 12th Parliament has broken the record in terms of being able to examine the reports of the Auditor General that had piled up over the years.
Right.
As we speak, we've been able to cover a lot of ground. We have done the reports for 2014-15 financial year, 2015-2016, 2016-2017.
Yes.
Now we are dealing with the 2017-2018 financial year report, which is the latest report that has been submitted by the Auditor General of the Parliament. That means, therefore, that my committee has been able to clear the entire backlog that we inherited from the previous Parliament.
Right.
That is a feat which is not easy to achieve.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm very proud that my members have been able to work tirelessly
then where
to enable us to cover this ground.
Ultimately, it should address the issues that the people of Kenya are grappling with. The
Correct. I was coming to that.
Okay.
And in these reports, if Kenyans took their time, and they are in the website of Parliament, they are in the parliamentary records.
Right.
They are in the Hansard of Parliament. If Kenyans took their time to read these reports, they will establish that my committee has undertaken its role very, very objectively. And we have been able to make recommendations. And we have been able to pinpoint issues or areas that require to be addressed. We have been able to apportion blame where it is necessary to specific public officers. And we have been able to recommend actions to be taken by other investigative agencies
that probably have not been able to do that,
including the DCI and the EACC and the DPP.
Right.
Okay. Again, you must understand that it is not the role of the Public Accounts Committee to effect arrests of people.
Of these particular people.
Or to jail people.
In terms of legislation, then we'll come and address that, because then at the level of legislation, Mheshimiwa, we expect that we should have at least
I wish you were given that mandate.
Yes.
I would have arrested so many people right now.
All right, we take a breath and we're coming back with
Maybe it's
Mheshimiwa.
part of the issues that BBI should address.
That should address,
to empower the Public Accounts Committee to arrest people, and charge them and perhaps prosecute them.
All right, at what point then are we losing it as a people of Kenya? We'll be coming back with that and much more. Hold it right there.
Peterson, tumefutwa wote.
Yawa, pia wewe?
Tumeachiliwa.
Si pia wewe unaweza anzisha biashara yako?
Na hii economy venye iko tough sana.
But not too tough for Mwananchi Credit.
Tutafanya aje?
Si niko na 5 good cars. We can get a quick logbook loan approved within 6 hours.
Nataka kuanzisha salon na spa. Hii haitatosa.
Si tuko na title deed spare. We can still get more money using them. Get a quick approval within 6 hours using your logbook or title deed. Do not get stuck. Call Mwananchi Credit today. Si nilikwambia.
You are a big smart joke.
Mwananchi Credit. Investor in people.
Siasa ni sawa na usiku wa giza. Usiku uliojaa siri, hila na karata.
I'm not money. Na nitajaribu.
Na inahitaji ujasiri kuupenya.
Tunapiga mdomo sana, lakini hakuna kitu kigeni.
Mimi niweze
huwezi niambia nikatae kwenda kukamua ng'ombe maziwa yangu nipeleke niende kuja Mombasa. No, wanakuja Mombasa wenye wanajiweza.
Wacha nicheke kwa sababu nafikiri kwa sababu ya hizo nguo wanavaa wanaona Wakenya wengine ni wajinga.
You cannot have your cake and eat it.
Na wakati wa Ruto kuumia kutokana na maoni sasa.
Baraza la siasa limejituma kutia mwangaza kwenye giza hili.
Ungana nami Salome Mwiruri kila Alhamisi saa 2 jioni.
We probably would prefer to have legislation measures that would be helpful in terms of ensuring that we tighten the noose on the aspect of the economic crimes that are conducted or are committed right here in the country, and how best we can address the aspect of corruption. And Mheshimiwa sort of nobly thinks that the BBI should be able to address that. Before we come to that aspect, I think it's important that we cross over to our reporter on ground, Salome Mwiruri, who's with some people, and of course they'll be asking some few questions to Mheshimiwa. Good evening, Salome.
Thank you very much, Linda. We are coming to you live from Nairobi at the CBD. Well, this is not where the MP has his constituents based, but the fact that he is an ODM loyalist or a person who has been very instrumental in PAC gives us the privilege to brag that we can be able to talk to the people of Nairobi about the issues that he has been given a mandate to oversight about. Most of the people that we've been able to talk to are asking, why is it that no one takes to the courts or to the judiciary the audited reports of the Auditor General, despite the fact that the law allows the reports to be admissible in court? Most of them saying that if the Auditor General's report will be used, then we'll have more convictions instead of having a back and forth between the DCI, the DPP, and between the judiciary. And I've been able to talk to some people, and we'll talk to this young man. Maybe he'll tell us his name and what he thinks about PAC and the role of Opiyo in the whole thing as the chair of PAC. So tell us, what's your name and what do you think about this member of parliament?
Okay, my name is Steve Biko from the University of Nairobi School of Education. PAC, usually their main role is to call the ministers and after the auditor report and question them, then table back the report to the parliament. But my question is, they usually call these ministers, they question them, but we've never seen any action taken to the judicial service challenging the auditor report, so that those who are responsible be held responsible by the court of law. And at times, some ministers are invited and they don't turn up. And there are such cases we have not seen any action being taken. Does it mean that anyone is above the law, or what does that mean? So the chairman, Mr. Opiyo Wandayi, should come and explain clearly to the public why that has been happening. If he's the chair, and he should make sure that the roles of the office are done as mandated by the Constitution.
Thank you very much. But you're from that other side of the country, and maybe you've had people talk about functions that he's done, maybe back at home in Ugunja. Maybe, what do you think? Are you satisfied? Do you think he has delivered, or has he not delivered?
In my own opinion, I may say he has not delivered, because they mostly stay in Nairobi. All of his functions are done in Nairobi, and rarely uko grawa vitu ni different kabisa, because infrastructure, I'm a resident at Ugunja constituency. Roads are in pathetic condition, healthcare are not catered for, and so we are just asking if his work is to check on auditor's report and question the ministers.
So you think it will be more appropriate for him to go home more often and perform his duties in terms of constituency? Remember, he's in charge of the CDF fund.
Yeah, he can't perform from Nairobi, because when he's performing from Nairobi, he only gets reports, but when he goes back to the ground, he gets the actual information. Yeah, because sometimes they issue the tenders are just gazetted, then the engineers just disappear, the companies just disappear, yeah, and the public money is wasted. Yeah. Thank you very much. Before we go to the next person, there were other guys that we were able to talk to, and some of them were raising the question for him to clarify whether he's vying for the governorship. I don't know if he will speak about that, but maybe talk to us, tell us your name and what are your sentiments.
Thank you very much. I'm Basil Odwar, a student of the University of Nairobi. First, I would like to congratulate Opiyo Wandayi for making it to the studio so that we can at least interact with him. Opiyo Wandayi is one of the leaders who I've really admired, because he has made Ugunja to the light. He has brought Ugunja to the limelight. Ugunja was one of the constituencies that was hardly known. It was one of the new constituencies created that was he became a member of parliament. I think it's the first MP of Ugunja. So my question to Opiyo Wandayi, in line with the park, is that they brought people before the committee and they've questioned them most oftenly. And my worry is they do question big leaders. I've seen they've talked to the former governor, Kiambu, and others. And we've even seen the former governor impeached because of corruption. But these are things that I've not seen take off, because the committee have always questioned, and at times we citizens feel that the committee is compromised, mostly when you find cases that are aligned to the ruling party, or now currently we have the Building Bridge Initiative, the BBI. Those who are in support of the BBI most of the times will go unquestioned. They can be questioned, but they will go unpunished. And I've not seen anybody being punished. I've seen the NYS scandal, and nothing has happened. We just hear that there are court cases, people are arraigned in court, but we've not seen a punishment to them. As citizens, we will want to see those who misappropriate, misuse our funds, our tax. We will want to see them getting arraigned and being served jail terms. And we advise this committee. Opiyo Wandayi is one of the honorable members I respect, together with the likes of Kaluma. But now let me talk of, I want to see a committee that is of integrity. I want to see a committee that is steadfast, that is looking forward towards helping this country. We don't want they're politicians, yes, but we don't want to see politics into accounts. We don't want to see politics into finance. This is a country that should be run. And we want to develop. We should think towards developing. We have the sustainable development goals that we should work, the Vision 2030, we should work to achieving it. And this will only help when the committee is working with a lot of integrity and a lot of respect to the nation. That is articulated in another chapter 6 of the Constitution, leadership and integrity of office. So if you have a misconduct of office, you should be charged. And I think Opiyo Wandayi, that should be taken in. You should take that into account so that people don't misuse funds.
Thank you very much. Those are some of the sentiments, but there are some other people who also asked why is it that he has not spoken about the handing over of some of the functions to the governor from the governor of Nairobi to the president, despite the fact that he's boasted of increasing revenues to go to the county. Thank you very much. Back to you in studio.
Rory, on ground, and I'm sure so much would have been asked, but then because of the interest of time, we might not be able to delve deep into that. This is clearly a show that is of the people, and I think it's noble that you get to answer them, though some of the questions you've already answered, especially in regards to the fact that, yes, your hands are tied at the level of the committee. But then when we're talking about the roads, when we're talking about the coming in of the handshake, some people sort of feel like there's been some level of compromise at your level, especially, the committees and all that. Would you sort of make your sentiments in regards to the same?
Yeah, I must say that I'm really impressed by the level of engagement of the public. Yeah. Okay? over the matters we are discussing. Yes, it goes to explain or to show, to demonstrate that Kenyans are really concerned about the management of their funds by public officers. But having said that, I must also distinguish between the role I play as chairman of PAC, which role I have to play mostly in Nairobi, for a fact.
Right.
That has not in any way jeopardized my role on the ground.
On the ground.
Kwa hivyo kwa ground vitu haziwezi kuwa different.
Wanasema wacha tuzungumzie mambo ya barabara. For instance, of course, and I think
you know, my constituency is one of the constituencies that boasts of 3 complete tarmac roads.
Courtesy of the handshake, you think?
Well, not courtesy of the handshake, but courtesy of the lobbying and consistent focus of the member of parliament.
Right.
Yes, because these roads can be budgeted for, but unless there is a follow-up by the representative of the people, it's not possible.
Before we listen into what the president said in regards to this, I think you need to clarify this, Mheshimiwa. At some point in time, we had Mheshimiwa Oboko Milema coming here, and there was some catch-22 on who exactly is supposed to deal with some of the issues at the level of the county. And it looked like it was, sort of a hula baloo, especially when you take a look at what the governor is to do, what the members of parliament are supposed to do, and what the MCAs. I don't know whether it cuts across or maybe it's special in this particular case. In CIA, it's special and it's different in other counties.
These functions are clearly spelled out
in the Constitution.
And in Schedule 4 of the Constitution.
But he says that, there's been a catch-22, especially on the roads, that is in Emuhaya.
Those roads are clearly classified and categorized.
Whether it's Kenha, Kura.
So there's no contradiction or self. But I have to focus on the issues they have raised.
Yes.
Secondly, the other gentleman has raised the issue of integrity of the committee. Very important. And I'm very proud from where I sit that my committee or the PAC under my leadership has not had any integrity issue ever since we are constituted.
All right.
And that is an issue, that is something that we need to be proud of, all of us as Kenyans. Because we know in the past, the public accounts committees have had serious reputation issues. Okay? That is now a thing of the past.
Right.
At least as far as my committee is concerned.
Even with the coming of the handshake, as they say?
Thirdly, is the issue of the handshake. I said from the outset that my committee continues to discharge its mandate in a most objective manner. When we sit as a committee, we don't care. We are oblivious to whether you are Jubilee, ODM, handshake, Kieleweke, sijui what. We are tanga. We are totally oblivious of all those contradictions.
So the reports are just...
We deal with the issues as they come before us and on the basis of the evidence that's adduced during our sittings. Fourthly, of course, is the issue of the governor, the county government functions that were handed over to the national government in Nairobi. Now, again, our listeners or our viewers must understand that the very constitution that we swore to defend allows for transfers of these functions. In fact, either way, there are situations where these functions can come from national government to the county government. Okay, and that's an issue which is governed by the law. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right. 2018, you joined President Uhuru Kenyatta and, of course, Right Honorable Raila Odinga in talking about the Parliamentary Service Bill, which you also said would not be fair for members of Parliament to have a top-up or an increment on what they're getting. But then the aspect here of promising Kenyans that you are highly going to work towards transforming the life of Kenyans instead. So far we've not been able to see such a scenario. I mean, Kenyans continue to grapple with the aspect of poverty. The cost of living is extremely high. So it seems like really nothing, sort of that is tangible is coming to the people of Kenya, and complaints are here left, right, and center. What could be informing this? Because then everything is always attributed to the leadership of the country.
Well, okay. Whereas I agree with the fact that Kenyans presently are feeling an economic crunch. Okay. A lot of people do not have adequate disposable income in their pockets. That's a fact. We can't run away from it. Okay? But again, the matter of transformation of people's lives is a progressive process.
Right.
And again, it involves many players, different players. Parliament, where I sit, also plays its role.
Right.
Okay? The executive is supposed to play its role. The private sector, where you guys belong, must also play its role. Okay? The issues of corruption are also prevalent in the private sector.
Right.
By the way, before I joined Parliament, I used to be in the corporate work, where I worked for about 15 years. And I rose through the ranks to a very high level.
Yeah.
Yes, so I know that each and every one of us has got a role to play in terms of transforming the lives of Kenyans. Okay? And where one sleeps on the job, then they're supposed to be held to account. That is why we have got institutions of accountability, such as the PAC, such as the DPP, such as the EACC, such as the DCI, such as the judiciary. You see, all these institutions are created by the Constitution to play specific roles, and more so in terms of ensuring accountability.
They have at some point blamed the Constitution of curtailing this, especially when you go to the level of courts and, you know, people are granted bails and bonds and all that. I know we cannot delve deep into that. But then again, I mean, should we go to the level of legislating, and then that's when the BBI then comes in?
No constitution is ever perfect. 100%.
Right.
Okay?
Yes, it's dynamic, so we're supposed to...
The 2010 constitution that we currently have is one of the most progressive constitutions in this part of the world.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean that there cannot be any need for improvements, which we are now going to do through the BBI process.
Right.
I'm happy to note so.
Okay, let's not delve much into the BBI. Let's talk matters Ugunja, because that's a key. And let's listen in to this particular time when President Uhuru Kenyatta, courtesy of the handshake, and Right Honorable Raila Odinga toured Ugunja. And they did well for the people of Ugunja, which is something that we celebrate. Let's listen in to this, and then we come back to react to the same.
So tuasema tukakuja sasa hapa kwenu kwa sababu ya hii barabara. Na hii barabara tumekubaliana, tumeianzisha na tumekubaliana ya kwamba mwezi wa 8 mwaka ujao tutarudi hapa sasa tuone lami ikitembea. Si ni namna hiyo? Tumekubaliana August next year tuwe hapa tuone vile tuone kazi imemalizika. Na ndio tuje kufungua barabara kirasmi. Sawa sawa?
2018, 2019, the road is complete? Or is it the same one that we had an issue with? I remember the other time that you were complaining that it was not up to standard, a road in Ugunja.
I remember that occasion when the President came to visit our part of the country, that is Nyanza. He only, when he came to Siaya County, apart from Bondo, where he went to for a university function, the only other constituency he visited was Ugunja. And we are very happy and proud of that fact. And we are forever grateful to the President for honoring us with that visit. And in that particular function, I raised a number of issues with the President. Okay? And he responded very positively. Now, that road he's talking about is the Ugunja, Ukwala, Rwambua road, whose stomaching is now more or less 95% through. Whatever is remaining minor issues, which I raised the other day with the authorities, I hope they are going to address them. So that the road can be in a state in which it can be handed over officially. Otherwise, the works are more than 95% complete. And that is the third road that my constituency has been able to get in this particular term of Parliament. Yes. So it goes a long way to demonstrate the fact that we are making progress, not only as the people of Ugunja, but the people of Siaya and Kenya as a whole. The key issues, the security, the aspect of... There are issues I raised concerning matters of electricity. Okay? The President promised electricity, to do something. I'm aware that some work is being done in that regard. Yes, the issues of security, we continue to discuss security issues. And many other things, which I might have to talk about here. So we are focused as the people of Ugunja to ensure that ultimately we implement our strategic plan to the fullest possible extent. Okay? And ultimately we are focused as a people to ensure that this constituency gets to the next possible level. Yes. And that when our time comes to leave, we shall leave it better than we found it. Are you going to be the governor? Somebody asked that. That will answer after this short break. And of course, we have so much... Because leaving, of course, we shall leave. Yes, at one time. Eventually. Eventually, yes. All right, after this break, we'll come back with more.
Uandishi wa habari uliokwenda darasani na kufuzu vyema umetua rasmi. Lengo lake kuu ni kufahamisha jamii kwa taarifa ya kina kupitia upeo wa TV47 unaotua kwa safari yenye hatua mpya na muonekano wa hali ya juu. Kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni, Clifford Ndubi na Andrin Kilemi wanaibuka kwa taarifa stadi. Andrin Kilemi atarejea tena Jumanne saa 1 jioni kwa ukurasa mwingine wa habari. Siku ya Jumatano, Salome Mwiruri ndiye atakayepasua mbarika ya habari. Na miale ya jua itakapotua magharibi siku ya Alhamisi, Emmanuel Terer na Liz Mutuku watatua usukani wa upeo. Mnamo Ijumaa, Paul Kirobi na Fiona Kenga watadadavua habari kwa njia ya aina yake. Jumamosi haujasazwa, nahodha wako Corazon Safen atahakikisha meli haikwendi mvange. Josh Onsare ndiye atakayevalia njuga taarifa siku ya Jumapili nia kubwa ikiwa kufunga wiki kwa mpigo. TV47, nyumbani mwa taarifa nadra zisizopakuliwa kwingine.
And we're back on the last laps of the program. Got to sample some of your comments and of course the feedback on social media. I'll not be going on the screen, but I think I'll take them right here, Mheshimiwa. Edu Mark Nare says, I'm Edwin from Ugunja, but currently in Nairobi. I'm so proud of a member of parliament because he has done a lot. Anyway, I tried to reach him because I needed his help, but I could not reach him. I still need to get to you, Mheshimiwa. And Emmanuel Timiu says, watching from Kihoto, Naivasha, thank you so much. How Isaac is tight, says, our politicians ni gunzi wale walishikwa huko Kandara wakiharibu mkutano and the likes. That's interesting. Brian Robert Odhiambo says, I'm one of your constituents, have been seeking a bursary from CDF offices to no avail. I'm a third-year student at Mount Kenya University facing financial difficulties in school. Kindly, I am appealing for your help. And he's left his number. And the question of CDF he raises, which is very important. We have Christopher Kabu on phone, and I think it's important that we pick that, and then we come back to discuss more. Christopher, good evening.
Good evening.
Christopher, jambo.
Jambo sana, jambo.
Ndio, asante sana kwa kupiga simu. Japo hatukupati vizuri, naomba mtuongezee sauti ili mheshimiwa aweze kusikia.
Yes.
Ndio?
Yes, mimi naitwa Christopher Kabu.
Ndio.
Kutoka Ugunja constituency. Salimia mheshimiwa Wandayi.
Amesalimika.
Asante sana.
Yes. Huyo ni mbunge wetu.
Ndio. Je, una maoni yote au swali lote kwa mheshimiwa jioni hii ya leo aswa kuhusiana na maendeleo Ugunja?
Yes.
Ndio.
Kumpigia mheshimiwa. Asante sana.
Ndio.
Ile ameweka Ugunja sasa hivi.
Endelea na kusikiza.
Amekijengea mashule.
Ndio.
Ametuletea buses secondary school.
Ndio.
Ametuletea ma colleges.
Ndio.
Barabara pia ni mzuri. Sisi kama watu wa Ugunja we are very happy vile mheshimiwa Wandayi ameweka sasa.
All right. Asante sana, tunashukuru sana Christopher kwa simu yako, na mheshimiwa yuko hapa amesikia, na nafikiri tutakuja kwa swala la CDF mheshimiwa,
yes.
na also education aspect that he has raised, because also there's someone who sends a message in regards to the same.
Yes, thank you very much Christopher Kabu for those positive remarks. Secondly, I must also explain the fact that the NG-CDF Act that currently governs the execution of CDF projects does not really give a member of parliament any role. That must be understood.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, by the public. Yes.
Because
a member of parliament has got no role whatsoever, legally speaking,
all right,
in matters CDF. And again, but because we are the people's representatives,
yes,
we must,
and, it's also
and we are the ones doing the oversight.
Yes, the oversight. Right.
Yes, generally, not just of CDF alone. We have got a say. Yes, we have got a mandate.
What do you make of the ratings that were made the other day? And, awarded Nyoro by Mizani. Remember, I know at some point it was castigated.
Yes,
but yes, rating.
Yes, I saw those things. I saw those things. I didn't make much out of them because there was controversy.
All right.
Yeah, but if a genuine study or opinion is welcome, because it gauges people's performance, our constituents' performance.
So if you topped the list, would you have said the same thing?
I'm saying that personally I have got no issue at all.
Right, okay.
Yes, so long as it is done objectively and it is authenticated. Okay, and therefore the NGCDF work is largely in the hands of the NGCDF committee,
right?
And which of course has got people from the constituency and the manager brought by the board. But having said that, under my watch, we have made serious progress with the Ugunja CDF, okay? And we have had no issues, no negative issues whatsoever, emanating from the management of CDF in Ugunja.
We have a phone call. Can we pick this?
Yes, please pick.
All right, Garang from Ugunja, so that at least we're not able to lock them. Probably the last one that we're picking this evening. Garang, good evening.
Hello.
Ndio.
Yes, habari jioni.
Salama, tunashukuru. Asante kwa kupiga.
Salamia mheshimiwa.
Nimesalimia wewe pia.
Mimi naitwa Garang kutoka Ugunja.
Ndio.
Asante.
Mheshimiwa hajajaribu
Ali?
Hajajaribu amefanya kazi.
Hajajaribu. Amefanya kazi. All right. Okay. Okay.
Ameleta college hapa karibu na nyumbani. Ngine naendelea hapa ukiteke MPC.
Ndio.
Ametengeneza barabara. Sisi tunaona kwamba ya
right.
Kitu kwa gavana. Tenda juu sasa.
Asante. Hi. Well, where there is credit we give, and your people have spoken.
I'm happy they are really talking very positively about my leadership.
Right.
But I give credit to God, yes, who has guided us. I've heard people talk about me going to run now for something else.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't declared any interest in any other position.
Not just yet.
For 2022 or any other year.
Right.
Yes, I'm still busy discharging my mandate as MP for Ugunja.
All right.
When the right time comes for political declarations to be made, I will make them. Yes, in broad daylight.
Okay.
Yes.
We're still on the same.
Whether I'm defending my seat as MP Ugunja or I'm going for any other position.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Of course, the people are waiting to see them. But then on the aspect of CDF,
that is my democratic right. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes,
True to it. Yes, on CDF, like you were saying, that it's not sort of the role of the members of parliament. But we've seen the likes of Aisha Jumwa, being put to task.
Yes.
In regards to the CDF.
Yes. Those MPs who have abused their mandate and honor and influence and authority to meddle in CDF affairs and in the process perpetuate corrupt practices deserve to be jailed. Okay. Because any time you misuse public funds, whether as a member of parliament or as anybody else, you don't deserve mercy. Okay? And that I can say without fear of contradiction. Yes. Yes. And so that it sends a message that no one is above the law. Yes, it is pointless for us to be continuously interrogating people in PSC.
In PSC.
While our colleagues or some of us continue to do the exact thing we are condemning. So I think let the public not allow any member of parliament or any other person for that matter to meddle in CDF and misuse those very limited funds. Yeah.
Your people are extremely calling. Steve from Ugunja.
Yes. Let's hear what he said.
Good evening. Steve.
Habari jioni.
Asante kwa kupiga. Good evening. Yes.
Namshukuru kwa kazi.
We're not able to get them clearly. I don't know. There's.
My name.
Yes, Steve. Yes.
Na pia kutoka Santa Board.
Ndio.
kwa mpaka ya nashukuru mheshimiwa
ndio
kazi nzuri ya hospitali ya Ugunja atuchekea tunaenda kule ya nafanya kazi. Naomba ni kuwe gavana wa
yeah, 2020, Governor Tena. He speaks of the border, and we're talking about Kenya and Uganda. Uganda being, sort of one of the key business partners of Kenya.
Yes.
How have we streamlined the level of Ugunja in terms of ease of business towards ensuring that the people are equally able to benefit from this trade that goes on between these two countries?
Well, as a constituency, we are in close proximity to the border with Uganda. And that has brought blessings and sometimes curses. Yes. Yeah. Yes, blessings in the fact that people are able to move freely and to do business in Uganda. But sometimes curses in the sense that we have sometimes forced to tackle the issue of narcotics, contraband goods and the likes, yes, that come from territories which are outside Kenya. I don't want to say Uganda. Yes.
How best can the two sort of sit, in terms of leadership towards ensuring that there is this? Because it will be of benefit to the people of Uganda, also traders in Uganda.
We have engaged the right authorities.
Yeah.
And they are dealing with this matter. Hopefully it will be addressed conclusively.
All right.
Yes. Okay. But as you can see, Linda, our people are very optimistic. Yes.
And positive.
And positive. Not only about my leadership, but about the general infrastructure that exists.
All right.
I only hope that we can continue in this spirit.
Okay, they speak dearly about education, and you also have spoken dearly about the vocational training, the technical institutes that have been opened. We've seen Right Honorable Alela Odinga to come and oversee this. But at the level of early childhood development, Mrs. Andipo says, let me just, because she sent this, and she says, the government of Kenya does not even make an attempt to support early childhood development centers. And of course, it's impossible for them to be able to do this. If the government would come in and help the teachers, then it will be very much well.
There are two key issues in early childhood development.
Yeah.
One is the infrastructure, in terms of putting up the facilities, the classrooms and the rest. But more importantly, is the issue of employment of teachers.
Right.
Okay, or tutors. That, of course, is the mandate of the county government.
The county government, yes.
Yes. The county governments are facing challenges here and there. But I think they can do better in this regard. Yes, not only here, but I think across the country. Because unless we get it right at that level of education, anything else we'll be doing later is neither here nor there. We must get it right from the very basic level of education and invest slightly more than we are currently investing in that sector. Yes.
All right.
I would urge the governors to take more effort. Take more time and put more effort in this sector.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, you are well versed on matters agriculture, especially based, agricultural business, on what you graduated on. And one would argue then that at this particular point, we would expect you to execute this at the level of the ground, where we'd see agribusiness thriving in Ugunja. And we know very well that they also do well in terms of matters agriculture, because also it's the steering aspect of matters economy down there. Are we doing as well to a point whereby we can confidently sit and say that, this can also be the food basket of the country?
Well, you rightly put it that my background is agriculture-based.
Yeah.
Actually, my first training was agriculture and a major in agricultural economics. Before I did MBA.
Yes.
Now I'm studying law.
All right.
So I'm a jack of all trades. To an extent.
Master of?
To an extent.
Okay,
master of others. Now, I understand clearly, very, very clearly, what ails the agriculture sector. Okay? One of the biggest problems in our kind of agriculture, which is largely subsistence, okay? You must understand that.
Right.
Yes, it's hardly commercial.
Commercial,
yeah. It is largely subsistence. Is lack or inadequate supply of proper farm inputs. That is one.
Right.
Which includes, of course, also seed. Okay?
Yes.
The second one is, of course, the matter of post-harvest losses. Okay?
Yes, after that then...
The third one is, of course, market.
Right.
For those who are able to produce surplus.
Yes, then where do they take them?
But more critically, that cuts across all this, is lack of adequate extension services.
Right.
Okay? So understand clearly what is ailing our sector on agriculture. We as a constituency can only do much because most of these things depend on policy that have to be developed either nationally or at the county level.
Yeah.
Okay? But as a constituency, we have done a lot. First and foremost, in terms of addressing issues of farm inputs, we invested before agriculture was removed fully from the mandate of NGCDF. In our first term, we did put up a farm inputs and the cereal store using CDF money in a place called Ambira in my constituency, one of its own kind in the region, which is able to stock seed, is able to stock fertilizer, and is able to stock surplus maize. Okay, which we had to have surplus maize, I must say. Okay. Secondly, we have partnered with the private sector. Okay. Right. There is a private sector-driven program currently referred to as 1 Acre Farm. Okay, which is doing a lot in our region. First thing I did in my first time was to engage the management of that program. Right. They are American-based companies. Yes, I had a meeting with them in Nairobi in my office, in my first time office, and we entered into an arrangement of partnership. Right. And they have done wonders. That is one area of partnership. Okay. Okay. We continue to engage constructively the county government to do its part. Okay, in terms of addressing the other issues. Okay. Right. And ultimately, our people have been able to see their productivity improve over time. Okay. That is what we can do at our level. Okay. But a lot of these things require concerted efforts from all players. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. I would have wanted to get your take on, of course, what Justin Muchiri has done today in terms of the proposal that he presented on the BBI task force team in regards to the Senate, and you know that it should go to the level of the 94 members in about a minute or so. I mean, what are your thoughts? Is this a collective argument? I didn't watch Justin Muchiri. Yes, this is his proposal, was that the Senate be made the upper house with 94 members, man and woman. And of course, the question then would it be a collective agreement, of course, within the members of parliament or within the legislature, or these are his purely his thoughts? And you know, the conflict that has been there in terms of sort of executing of rules, much as it's well enshrined in the constitution between Senate and members of parliament. A lot of thoughts are coming in. Yeah. And I view those views as again some of the views we need to come in. But they'll be synthesized through the BBI framework. Yes. And ultimately, a common position will be adopted. Okay? But the need for us to have clarity is important. In terms of which house is superior to the other. Yes. And which house plays what role. So that these unnecessary conflicts, unnecessary misunderstandings can be done away with. That is important to entrench democracy in our country. Yes, and we must also understand that our democracy is still maturing. Yes. It's a fairly young democracy. Yeah, I'm sure with time we shall get our level. All right. Yes. Thank you so much, Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, Member of Parliament, Ugunja constituency in Siaya County. It was an honor having you. And equally, your people, I'm sure, are so much excited about this. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you too. It was a pleasure. And of course, talking to the people is what is always very important, because then sometimes we get some of these pledges, yet we do not get a chance to speak to the people and hear their voice and hear what they think about the progress down on ground. We'll always be doing this with you. Most importantly, we want to hear whom you want us to invite next. We need to put some of our leaders to test so that at least moving forward, we are able to make the best of the country. It was great having you this beautiful evening, and I'm looking forward to see you again on Tuesday. Same time, same place. We'll have lots in store for you, so ensure that you keep it TV47. My name is Linda Alela, doing this with Josephine Ouko. See you again next time. Do have a blessed evening.